guys, 2 more nights to go. Are you excited? I am so excited to finish this run of 7 nights. This is too much. Oh, crazy talk. We're gonna go for a walk and we're gonna maybe go get a coffee or something, or just I don't know, if the banh mi place is open, we might go get a banh mi. I don't think it'll still be open now, but it's like 4:30 or something, so I'm guessing it'll probably be shut. But if it's still open, then let's go do that. Otherwise, we just get to have a nice walk outside, which would be good. So get some fresh air, chill out, be really nice. So as you can see, a bit of washing. Then I got a hat. We're going red today, and some white socks with some weird yellow stripes. Apologies for the gross feet, but gonna whack those socks on and then grab some shoes. We're going the Nikes today, so that'll be alright. I actually love those things. Quick hello, and let's get out of here. Say goodbye to that gross bed. Oh wow. Grab the bed, grab the bag, and we're gonna head out for a walk. It's actually been kind of nice these past couple of nights. I mean, not nice, but yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's been fun, great learning experience. It's actually an absolute great day today. Sunny weather, but it's actually nice to get outside, go for a walk. Nothing worse than it raining when you're at home after your night shift. So I think one of the best things you can do on your days off on night shift, or your time off at night shift, is essentially just get outside, go for a bit of a walk, and get some fresh air. Otherwise you're just stuck in the hospital, then bed, and then hospital, then bed. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. I was really annoyed. Putting my coffee in my little compost bin, the puck somehow managed to get on the floor, this green thing to mop up everything. And we eventually got our coffee, and we're going to go ahead and sit outside for this one. It is just too good of a day to be drinking this amazing coffee inside. So yeah, very happy. But we're going to try to get some work done. Had a bit of study to do, had a bit of editing to do, so I'm going to churn that out before I head off. And I like to, ease into my, my mornings off after the night shift, but hey. We're going into the night number 6, so second last night of 7. I've had a couple of okay nights last night and the night before, so I feel like we might be due for a busy one, but hopefully not. Hopefully it's the same as the others. Just have to wait and see what we have to do. I was actually messaging a few people recently as well, and in terms of actually trying to put together some sort of mentoring program or mentoring service. I'm still trying to work out what exactly it would look like, because I want to make it something that I can commit to, but also be sustainable, even if I'm in the middle of exams, or if I'm on call or busy, or on annual leave or something. Just trying to work it out in terms of everyone's schedules. Mentoring, I think, is super, super important, especially for people in the medical profession, because there's so many unknowns in the medical profession and uncertainty, which is a little bit tricky to navigate if you don't have someone right there alongside you sort of guiding you through it. So the whole aim of this stuff would be to essentially be like a sounding board, a bit of a guide, just sort of be someone to bounce ideas off, and essentially just help them out as much as you can. I've had a bit of interest from
a few people that I've spoken to, which has been really, really good. Just sort of looking at how I would make it work. If I would be a one-man shop, or if I would just provide resources, or if I would just do everything, live in person, or actually try to do something that's a bit more like course-like. If you want to speak to someone about something, you want to tell them something, and you want actual personalized feedback. So I don't know how much, generic stuff would help with that sort of situation. I think it has to be one-on-one, potentially one to a few people, but I don't know if it can be like a pre-recorded sort of thing. So, where are you going, guy? Where are you going? Move. Which one? Which one are you going? Ridiculous. My guy's just hogging up 2 lanes. I'm like, my guy, you can't take 2 lanes. There's 1 lane for one car, the other lane for the other car. Pick a lane, go in it. Don't be like going one and the other. ¿Por qué no los dos? So yeah, I'm really sort of vibing this mentoring thing. We'll just have to wait and see, I think. But it's good that there's some interest there. And a lot of people have actually reached out, which is super encouraging. So maybe this stuff that I'm saying helps a little bit. Who knows? I guess it sounds like it helps a little bit anyways. But if it can just make it a little bit easier, a little bit more simple, a little bit more understandable along the way, then that's fine. I don't think you can solve everyone's problems in medicine. It's a big field with a lot of complexities for both patients and health professionals, and yeah, very tricky area, very complex area. But at the crux of it, you can, make your life easier and make everyone's life easier with a few basic simple principles. So I think that's the nature of just anything complex. If you start getting too into the weeds with everything, it's kind of nice just to, take a step back for the moment, think about the big picture. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Bring yourself back to those few principles. I mean, I feel like it's quite similar anyways to something like a maths tutoring or something like that. I tend to think that there's only a few principles for most math stuff that, once you learn the basic principles for a certain concept in maths, you can essentially solve any question related to that concept, at the specific difficulty, that is, by just going back to those principles. So it's like when you do maths homework, you're just reinforcing that principle. You're not trying to remember each specific example. You've learnt something and now you're just applying it to different situations. So I guess in a way, medicine is a bit like maths homework. You learn a couple of principles in med school, in a few lectures. It takes years and years and years to truly understand and test that concept, which is why people still, work in medicine and for many years. So it's so stimulating, it's so challenging, and there's so many different presentations and variations and interesting patient presentations. So and unique medical conditions. So it doesn't happen all the time, and most of the time it's pretty straightforward. Actually, scratch that. It's not very straightforward most of the time, because even when it seems straightforward, where medicine differentiates itself from maths homework is there's a human element to it. So you might have the right answer, but the patient might want something else, or they might have a certain cultural or religious or personal preference as to what they want to do or what they believe in or don't believe in necessarily. And I think that adds a different layer of complexity that I think just forces you to become a better doctor. rather than look at it like a speed hump or a roadblock. Because just because you can't do something that you want to do or you think is the best thing to do, and the patient wants something different, you can't get frustrated at that. But more so you need to think, well, how can I give this person the best option that would benefit them, that would make their life or their medical condition as best as possible, as treatable as possible. What is going on tonight? I can just tell. I feel like it's going to be a busy night tonight. Who knows? A couple of messages coming through the chat. I think there's a couple of operations lined up for tonight, so we might have our hands busy. See how we go. Got ourselves a nice little coffee though, in this mug that I'm absolutely in love with. It's it's one of Mum's old mugs that I never actually managed to return, and I think she saw it in a video that I did, or that I posted online, and she was like, just sent me a message directly and was like, "Oi, give me my mug back." And I just said, to be honest, I actually love this mug. Like, this is probably one of my favorite mugs. I think I'll just hang on to it for now. And she was like a little bit mad, but they've got heaps of these mugs, so sharing is caring. But yeah, I think the idea of having a mentor or someone to bounce off ideas in medicine is pretty critical. But yeah, I guess a lot of time people are too busy, or they don't have enough time, or it's a bit too inconvenient for them to like bounce off stuff. The one thing I was thinking about is just setting up a service where you can just message each other. That's still direct, but in your own time. I think one of the ways in which doctors or medical students might benefit a lot is if, say, I can send a message on night shift to them at 3 a.m. and if we're on different schedules, say they're on days and we can't coordinate something live, then they can send a message back at 10 o'clock when I'm fast asleep, in between night shifts. And we can still have that back and forth, but it's asynchronous in a way. So it's not like a proper live chat. Although I do think the best mentoring would be in a live format, and it'll probably have to happen after hours. I think by the time that people finish work, or finish dinner, relax, able to do their evening routine, I think around a 9 p.m. session would be ideal, or a 9 o'clock, 9:30 p.m. time slot is pretty good. Maybe potentially people would want it earlier, but I think even if you have a cover shift that finishes at like 8 or 8:30, you can get home and get straight into that. Yeah, anyways, that's just like a couple of thoughts I had. I think if you could make it in a way that would be amenable to the doctor's schedule, then mentoring would work, because you can't actually schedule in a mentoring session with ease, at least during the work day. Even if you have like a half day or something. So the concept of the half day in medicine is interesting. I tend to not try to book things on a half day, because I find my half days that technically finish at like 1 or sometimes 12:30 or 1:30, whatever it is, don't end up being a half day. And you can very easily get stuck until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock with stuff that isn't supposed to be done on your half day, but ends up being done because you have to stay back and do overtime, and work just will inevitably present itself to you in a hospital setting. I try to keep my half days free, and I try to get out on time, but if I have to stay back, then the amount of times I've had to like cancel stuff, or I'm running late and I've said a delivery comes at 2 o'clock and I'm meant to be home by 1:30, but I don't get home till 3, and then it's like, appointments and stuff. It's hard to do that on half days, let alone, scheduling like a mentoring session at like 10 o'clock during the middle of the day. Like, that is virtually impossible for a doctor, especially a junior doctor who's on the ward, who's got a million jobs to do. That ain't gonna happen. Has to be on a weekend or after hours during the weekday. That's it. Well, it's getting darker slowly, but not quite yet. In this in-between summer and winter, what's that, autumn. So we're still getting a little bit of daylight. It's not completely pitch black dark, which is okay. It's okay. I don't mind going to work and it's not like, pitch black. Alright, we're gonna get to work soon. We're gonna start off the shifts. Should be okay. Hopefully we get a room. Last time I got kicked out of my room because apparently like ED person needs a room as well, which I don't understand how all the other people get a room. Like, there's a psychiatry person who's on overnight gets a room, anesthetics gets a room. They're not even anesthetizing for most of the night unless there's a massive emergency or a cesarean or something that needs to be done. Surge Reg does not get a room overnight. I feel like, and the med reggers don't get a room overnight. I feel like we're hard done by. Everyone else, so there's like O&G, psych, anesthetics, ED. There's more rooms than that, and I don't know who else takes them up because there's no one else over the course of the night. But what about me? Anyways, I'm gonna try to get a room or something, and we might be able to chill out in there. That would be nice. Maybe have a bit of a snooze or something. I know I don't really want to snooze on night shifts, but I feel like the last 2 nights I could catch up on a bit of sleep, make the transition a bit easier, and if I get woken up, I get woken up. That is actually technically what the on-call life is for most specialties. So I don't know if you guys know, but there's only a few specialties who are on-call at the hospital. They're mostly on-call at home. So say, for instance, urology, at this hospital, general surgery covers urology overnight. It's not always that case for other hospitals, but at this particular one, that's what happens. So overnight, if there is urology issues, they get directed to me, the general surgery registrar. But if I need to do something urgently, or the patient needs an operation or something like that, or I need urgent advice about a urology patient, you need to contact the on-call consultant. Now, the on-call consultant is not at the hospital. They are at home, probably fast asleep. They know that they're on call, but if anything happens, then they just get woken up and then they have to come in and sort it out or whatever. There are some specialties who are on site, on call overnight, and there are some specialties who are not on site, on call overnight. The medical registrars are on site, on call. Usually the more subspecialized they are, the more they actually stay at home and only get called in and have to come in if they have to. Something like a vascular surgery, at the other hospital that I worked at, vascular surgery, urology, orthopedics, the person taking the referrals is at home asleep, usually. And if anything urgently needs to be done, then they will refer that to the resident who is on overnight. So not all the on-call registrars are actually on site at the hospital. There's only a few people, and it's mainly anesthetics, surgery, medical, O&G, and I guess psych. I didn't know that psych, but were on call. I thought a resident would probably man psych, and then if the consultant or someone, needed to be contacted, they were at home, just like the other consultants. But yeah, even if you are a registrar, you can still be off-site, on call. It just depends on how the hospital is set up and what the structure is. For instance, at the previous hospital, I was at, the urology registrar was on call, but they were at home asleep. So they are still able to be contacted for urgent situations. But if they need something, if they need a patient to be admitted, then they'll probably just get in contact with the resident looking after. They will actually, the registrar at home will get in contact with the resident who is actually at the hospital already working, in order to do the admission, to organise anything, things like that. If, of course, they need to do an operation or they need to see the patient in person or do a procedure or whatever, then the consultant should actually come in, or the registrar should come in and help sort that out. The resident isn't supposed to be an expert in urology. They should know the basic issues and be able to follow a plan from the on-call registrar, much like other specialties like vascular or ophthalmology or orthopedics. But in terms of doing stuff, it just depends on the person's experience and what that conversation is between the resident and then the on-call registrar. Anyways, that's enough chatting. We're gonna head in and start the night shift soon. Hopefully we might order some food later on. Who knows? We'll see how we're feeling. All right, let's get to it.